Hi, I'm Darcel Lobo. I own Dow Law Firm in Normandy Park and here to talk to you today about title issues on real estate in Washington State. Now, I'm an attorney and a big part of my practice is helping clients dealing with title issues. Most commonly, it's a house seller who's getting ready to sell a house. The title report is ordered by the real estate agent and everyone realizes there's some type of red flag on title that has to be resolved. Sometimes I'm contacted by the title insurance companies, but most commonly it's either the real estate agent or the house seller who's contacting me to get help in resolving the issue. So let's go over a few scenarios where you may need help with a title issue. So most commonly I would say it's when someone's passed away. Maybe it's someone's spouse who's passed away, maybe it's someone's parents who's passed away and they're on title to the home and the home is going to be sold. However, the person who has passed away is still showing on title. I will work with your title company to figure out what is needed. If it's a surviving spouse, usually we can avoid probate and prepare some paperwork to resolve that title issue and allow the surviving spouse to sell the home. But if it's not the surviving spouse, maybe it's the children, maybe it's siblings looking to sell a home for someone who's passed away, we're probably looking at probate to be able to sell that home. If there's a will, if there's not a will, in both scenarios, we're probably going to have to go to probate to have someone appointed to be able to sell that home. And then that home, the proceeds will be distributed according to the terms of the will or according to state law if there is no will. Now, if the person had a trust and the home is in the trust, then probate should not be needed. But that's usually not the case that I see. Usually it's the case of someone who's passed away and there was no will, unfortunately, where we have to clear title to be able to sell the home, and that usually requires probate, again, unless it's a surviving spouse. So another situation where we sometimes are helping clients with title issues, and this is actually coming across my desk more frequently recently, is dealing with transactions where the homeowner maybe bought the home, usually it's quite a while ago, maybe it's 40, 50 years ago, and during that time it was more common to see seller financing. So we still do that now. I see seller financing now, but it seems like it was maybe more common maybe in the 60s, 70s, 80s where we see more seller financing, which is perfectly fine. However, when the buyer paid off the loan, the seller was supposed to file a reconveyance with the county showing that that loan had been paid off. So the client is coming to me now and they've been the homeowner for 40, 50 plus years. They paid off that loan many years ago, but unfortunately, there was never a reconveyance filed to release that lien that the seller had against the home. The loan's been paid off. We don't know where the seller is. My client doesn't know where the seller is. They haven't talked to that seller in many years. They can't be located. Maybe they're deceased. But we have to clear this issue from title. We can't still have there being a loan showing that's owing on this home when the client paid it off many years ago. So what do? It unfortunately requires that we go to court. We have to go to court and file a lawsuit called a quiet title action. What this process allows for is for us to go to court. Hopefully my current homeowner has documentation showing that they paid that loan off in full. So usually there was an escrow company involved collecting those payments on behalf of the buyer and then paying them to the seller. So if there are any documents that you may have pertaining to your purchase, and if this is what's happened to you where you did seller financing and unfortunately that loan is still showing on your home, if you have the documentation from the purchase and from the financing, that's very helpful for me to have when I have to go to court. Now, if you don't have it, that's okay. We can work around that with some declarations and any documentation that you do have, and we can work with the title company to get the archived records from the county pertaining to that purchase. But we have to go to court to get this item removed from title if we cannot locate the seller to have them sign a reconveyance. Now, this process is not fast. And so if you are already in a transaction to sell your home, we're going to have to get an extension of probably about 3 months' time to allow me time to go to court, to get the judge to approve what we have to do in this scenario where we can't find the seller, which is we have to publish in the local newspaper for 60 days to see if we receive any objections from either the seller or their heirs or anyone else that may have an interest in that property. So once I file the lawsuit, I get court approval to publish in the local newspaper where that real estate is located, and then we're waiting 60 days to see if we receive any objections. If we don't receive any objections, then we go back to court. We show the court that we filed the publication in the newspaper, we received no objections, and then we're asking the court to please quiet title in this property to my client, remove this old lien from the property because my client paid it many, many years ago. Again, it's usually 40 or 50 years ago that my client entered into this transaction and paid off that loan. They've lived in the property, they've maintained the property, they've paid property taxes for all these years, and so by all purposes, this is my client's home. We just need to clear up this title issue. And so if you have a transaction where you have a title issue, maybe there was seller financing and it needs to be removed and cleared from title, and you cannot find the seller to sign that paperwork for you, or you know that they're deceased, then we're moving with a quiet title action. Another scenario where we're helping clients with title issues and on their property in Washington State is lien removal. Maybe you paid off a lien, but it's still showing on title. Maybe there's an old lien or an old judgment from 5, 10 plus years ago that we need to either negotiate and settle. Maybe it's beyond the statute of limitations for them to collect, so we get it removed that way. So there can be a few different resolutions to a lien removal. Usually when we're dealing with a creditor or another law firm that has a lien against your home for an unpaid debt. So sometimes our office is called to assist with those transactions as well. Now, I've been a real estate attorney for 13 years at this point. Aside from that, I used to work at an escrow company. I used to be a real estate broker, and I also used to work for a mortgage lender. So I'm pretty well versed in this practice area. I dealt with this quite a bit from multiple different perspectives. So if you need help with a title issue on your property, or you know someone who does, you can rest assured that our office will be able to assist you and get this resolved for you. So give us a call. Our number is 206-408-8158, or visit us online at dowlawfirm.com. Thank you and have a great day.